Here we are at Pan Am 360 with Perrin Moss, drummer of this excellent band from Australia, Hiatus Kaiyote, that we know since at least 12 years. And we're very interested to your band, Perrin, because you investigate a very, very interesting territory: jazz, R&B, electronic, and punk, and also punk attitude. So you were one of the first bands to be in this very hybrid identity 12 years ago. Now we can see more, but you're still one of the pioneers, don't you think so?
Um, I mean, I'd say that yeah, it was always pushing to to keep extending the repertoire, extending our knowledge of how we can play music, and all the different ways. I would say that for us, we're just being ourselves, not really trying to pioneer too much, but just kind of like it's a combination of so many creative minds together that are really pushing their own ideas, and then this is what comes out. I think in the modern music, it's a lot more like solo orientated, which is totally fine. And but I feel like because it's a band, we still have that band structure and communication and family kind of demographics. So we're trying to yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to make that work. And I feel like what comes out of that is always something that is a bit more original than one person could write, because you're trying to slam all these ideas together, and what pops out is a hiatus song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, since we discovered Hiatus Kaiyote, we discovered Puma Blue in UK, King Cruel in UK, in
Right.
Japan,
Yeah.
Angelis in Tokyo, or
Mm,
Kagero in Tokyo. So bands that have a jazz foundation and electronic and hip hop jazz
mm,
foundation with a very different attitudes in playing and
mm,
presenting things. More punk, more hardcore, and
mm-hmm.
I think Hiatus Kaiyote now with Brainfeeder, because you're releasing a new album called Love Heart Cheat Code this Friday. Uh, you were one of the first. Maybe you had some other references, but it maybe also was a sort of normal coincidence because it was ready to live.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It is kind of wild. I feel like it's the time. Like I don't feel like any of these other artists. They may have heard of us, but I feel like they're all on their own trajectory. And I
Yeah,
think it's like one of those things where I used to always think this when I was really heavily producing a lot more than I am now. But I still, doing it in different ways and being creative and stuff. But remember there was a day where I just could not stop making music. Like I was just going so hard, and I would at nighttime, when I slept, I would be thinking about no, when everyone else is sleeping, I was thinking that this is a good time to be making music, to be capturing everyone else's dreams and all that stuff. And I used to think really like that, and I used to only really produce at nighttime, and get up late and then produce from there to early hours of the morning. But feel like there was always just more ideas out there to collect, and kind of like you're a vessel, and all these ideas are coming through you. They're not really your own ideas, but you're just capturing them. You're open to these ideas, and I feel like there's a certain person that can capture that, and there's many of them out there in the world, and you have to be open to have these ideas come through you. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that involved in all these different bands that are popping up around the world. So it's just these ideas that you have to capture, and if you don't do it, someone else will.
mhm.
And then you'd be like, oh, I had the same idea. And you might not have ever even met each other or heard each other's music, but you're on the same trajectory. You're thinking about the same stuff, same concepts, because you may have listened to the same records at home, and then also gone through a period of listening to the same records in high school and after high school. And you might have exactly the same kind of taste as someone else in there in the world, and if those two people are creating music independently, and they never met each other or even heard each other's music, you could, that's what kind of amazes me about even, the little side note, like just meeting fans all around the world and meeting different people that come to our shows, and then you realize that It doesn't even matter where you're from, even if you can't speak the same language. You're there for like, to connect on music that you all love. And then you're
Mhm.
like, man, I would hang out with all these people. If I lived here, this is my crew. And then if I lived in this city, this is my crew. And then you keep going around the world, and you realize that so many of us are similar. And we all have like similar passions and loves for music and art and everything. So, yeah, I don't want to tap. I don't even know that answer the question, but yeah.
Yeah, so I pursue. So, well, this is the fourth studio album that will be released on Friday, June 28th. About this new accomplishment, the evolution of the sound. I remember that the previous album was done after a difficult period for Napalm, that
Mhm.
she had serious health problems, and it was around this state of mind and also this feeling that the album was created with a very happy issue. But now, a few years after, we're back with maybe it's the previous records in a way. How do you see it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like definitely like the last record, there was a lot of grieving and there's a lot of pain around it, leading up to it, and then leading up to it was a lot. There's a lot of, like as you said, there's like Nate had a lot of health issues that was going on, and it affected everyone. Obviously, it affected her the most, but we just we're all there and we love her so much, and it was scary for all of us, and we weren't sure what was going to happen, um, and that brings out some deep emotional stuff that you can draw from to put on a record. But then also at the same time, COVID was happening, so the whole world was kind of stopping as well. So there was like a lot going on in that record, a lot to draw from, and also towards the end of finishing the record, we're kind of finishing the record, but going, well, we might finish this record, but like, what happens after? Like, are we actually going to be able to play music again? Like, I don't know. Like at this point, no one knew. And there was talks that it might not happen, so we didn't know how long that was going to last for. So all that stuff kind of went into that record, and in a way, like everything, I believe everything happens for a reason, and yeah, we were able to really go in and like draw from these deep places, especially with like because we had like a lot of the album essentially kind of done before COVID hit, and it was still the same kind of album, same sentiment. But then when COVID hit and everyone went to ground, we really just like went in and pulled everything out and like, started just really sinking into like, deep pockets of sound and like honing in on the feeling and the world creations, the worlds that's my favorite thing to do is just creating worlds that remind you of something, take you on this journey, and then you're here and then, so that's like really honing in on that because we had the time to, and that was really, really special. And I feel like as a whole album from start to finish, I feel like it's pretty cohesive and it has sorry about that, has a certain sound. And oh, yeah. And
Right.
yeah, and so I'm super proud of all the records we've done, and I do believe that like this record, My Part Cheat Code is a bit lighter. That's like after the fact. Of, all that period of time where it was pretty heavy, and then now we're in a lot of part of our lives. There's like rebuilding a lot of things, and the world's opening back up, and a bit more lighthearted. And we finished this latest record quite quickly compared to the old ones, and it does remind me a little bit more of Tawk Tomahawk, the first one. A bit
Mhm.
more playful energy, and kind of going from here to here and a bit all over the shop. But it's not as long. It's like it's not as long as Choose Your Weapon. A little bit longer than Tawk Tomahawk. So it's cool. Like I'm really proud of us on this one, and I feel like you did a really good job. And because it's a short record and it's kind of concise, we've already got so much for the next record. So we're kind of like we're on a good roll at the moment. Yeah, it's cool.
Mhm.
Mm.
I see. And the musicianship has evolved also. We can see,
Mm.
yeah, you're professional musicians. You've been involved in, this is a long process. I know your type of drumming, very influenced by the post J-Dilla aesthetics, but also all those excellent drummers in the United States that
Mm.
are taking from hip hop and electronic to do their own playing, like Kendrick Scott, for example, or Gene
Mm.
Lake, great drummers like that. Your
Mm.
kind of playing is very close to that. And also,
Mm.
I would say that jazz is even, well, maybe this time, the most important style in the whole blend. Am I right?
Mm. Well, I mean, for me, I've never played. When I think of jazz, actually, I think of a number of things when someone says jazz. But ultimately, like what I would like to think and what I think people are not referring to when they say jazz is what I believe. Um, is what
Hmm.
Miles Davis said, and Miles was saying kind of like, you can't really be. He got called out to be a pioneer of jazz. And he was like, I can't be a pioneer of jazz because jazz has not been done before. Jazz is something that's new. And so how can I be a pioneer of something that's never been heard before? So I thought that resonates with me the most out of anything to do with jazz, because
Yeah,
for
but
me,
I mean the jazz feel.
I
I
know,
know that
yeah, 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 yeah,
categories
yeah,
of jazz are obsolete every day because jazz is always moving on. But at the same
yes,
time, we can say that we feel the jazz approach
yeah,
even more than the rock approach or all the other styles
for
involved.
sure. Yeah, well, it's the freedom, isn't it? It's the freedom of playing, I guess, and the freedom, yeah, just the freedom of like letting yourself go. But I feel like for me personally, like the jazz is there on every record. I've never studied jazz, so like when I think of like that's what I was gonna say before. I think of two things. I think of the Miles Davis quote, and then I also think of like din 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 din, which I can't do. So people think I can do that, but I've never studied that, never actually played that ever in my life. So like I have this. It's in between those two worlds where I lay. Like and I do respect it and love it, and I wish I could place in like swing jazz or whatever, like traditional kind of building off that. Where I feel like a lot of drummers that I look up to have studied that in the past, and then I've come from a production background, which is not a usual place to come from when it comes to drums. So when I think about drums, I'm originally thinking about grids and where things lie on a grid because I'm seeing it as like a programmed drum part.
Mhm.
Whereas, I guess jazz kind of flows that, or I practice that and then just let it all go for a song, I guess. But yeah, it's open to interpretation. I feel like for me, I wouldn't associate jazz with my playing on this record,
Mhm.
But it's each to their own. What everyone else wants to, however they connect with music is how they connect with it, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong answer for it. The way that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
see it. Like it's all subjective and it's all beautiful.
It's always subjective, but we can, as you say, it's totally subjective. You didn't study jazz music, but at the same time, progressively, you learned some elements of this new jazz drumming. This is what I meant.
Mm.
But,
The new jazz drumming, yeah, true, yeah,
yeah, and
definitely.
also
That's just from studying it, yeah. Mm.
it's the same with the rest of the band. Those people were
Mm.
not jazz people at first, but jazz was one of their interesting influences. It became more and more present, but at the same time, the original attitude remained. So
Mm.
now, Hiatus Kaiyote is not only a bunch of musicians for musician. You're opening for on a big stage on June 27th at the Jazz Festival in Montreal in front of many thousand people. So it's
That's gonna
not,
be wild. Mm.
yeah. So you're coming for, or what is the gear? How is it presented?
Oh, well, I mean, it's going to be the same kind of setup as we've been doing for the last, almost decade. But in that time, we're slowly adding little pieces on, taking little pieces off, and it's like kind of refining the sound. And we're all kind of refining our sounds in terms of this. Yeah, because we have so much repertoire. How do you play it live? Um, and be free live as well. So no click tracks, no like nothing that bounds you to like anything. So you can, and that's for me, like I think about that as that's our jazz element, is that we can branch off whenever we feel, like live, and every show will be different, and that's the improvisation part of it. So
Are you going to
yeah,
play mainly the new album material or a
yeah.
mix?
Oh, a mix. Oh yeah, a mix for sure. There's some songs that we've only just started to work out how to play off the new record, and we haven't had the confidence at this moment to play any of them on this tour. So it's been we've only done 4 shows, but we'll slowly get there. Yeah,
Okay,
it's because
a
it's
few
because like
numbers from the new album and
absolutely,
all and
yeah,
classics, you would say.
yeah. I guess classics. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do
yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot of songs. We do have a lot of songs now. It's trying to write a set list is quite hard. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what are we going to put in the set? Yeah. Mm.
Excellent. So it sounds very good. So it's the starting point. Montreal, it will be a starting point for a North American tour, followed by a European tour. You're coming back also in Australia for a while, and you're going to Japan at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
A lot of
Quite a
action.
lot. Quite a lot of action. Yeah. The first little bit of the year was pretty chilled. It was nice. It was nice. I didn't take advantage of it as much as I could have, but like it's nice to be on the road. It's nice to be performing again, and yeah, it's what we do. So I'm really looking forward to playing Montreal, and the Jazz Festival is going to be incredible. I heard really good things, and yeah, I heard it's going to be a lot of people there. So I'm pretty excited, pretty nervous, but it should be fun. Yeah.
Perrin Moss from Hiatus Kaiyote. I thank you very much for this generous chat. So I wish you a great tour.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Take care. I'll see you at the show.
Here too. Oh, of course, with my daughter too. Bye.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome. All right, look forward
Ciao,
to
man.
it. Take care. Bye.
Take care too. Ciao.